Hello and welcome to this week's Top 25 Power Rankings, where we cover the top 25 teams in LOL Esports. Do this weekly, obviously. We got the board here, the teams that are out from last week. So because the VCS still has not officially announced when they will begin, there are some rumblings that they are figuring it out. Like the VCS will play, Vietnam will play. CNJ, formerly Saigon Buffalo, are out of the top 25, and GAM Esports also. Two teams that I expect to return once they start playing, but as of right now, because they're not playing, I'm not going to have them take up some spots. The PCS began, so CFO are out because they didn't perform well enough to stay in the top 25, and Rare Atom from the LPL also dropped out of the top 25. Keep in mind, when it comes to minor region teams, I kind of fit them in algorithmically because I can't watch all the minor regions play, but I do watch all the major regions play, and I use eye test plus a statistical algorithm just to kind of, gauge where teams are at. So let's get into this. 25th, the only minor region team on here is Impunity. They're from the PCS. We'll just do new here. Last year they were downright awful. Their team, I think Mission is on it, and maybe Driver. I forget who their AD carry is. Maybe Atlan. Like, they have some players that, I know of, right? Like, you see them and you're like, oh, Atlan was at Worlds, Mission was at Worlds, Driver's been there before. Players that have been around the block. But at the same time, I don't expect them to stay there. But they get their flowers, right? They beat Deep Cross Gaming. Deep Cross Gaming is a solid team. They're the ones that acquired Hanabi. And then they beat Hellpigs and Dewish team, two teams that I don't expect to be very good. So they are there. 24th, returning back to the top 25 is HLE. Clid finally hit a couple smites, pretty much is what it comes down to. They beat T1, which is a massive win. T1, first in the power rankings, that matters. Obviously, power rankings, even with take that out of the picture, HLE are a team that we expect to be up here, but they just have not performed that way. Clid has not performed that way. Viper and Life have not gotten it really going. But this past week, a 2-0 week, beating T1 and DRX. Definitely a significant deal there. I am not surprised that they're back up here. It was just kind of a matter of time. So they are 24th. 23rd is Team Liquid. I feel like people are going to split hairs here, but really I don't. I think you could really put any of these teams down here in whatever order you really want to. They're all kind of teams that have given us completely inconsistent looks. So to say outright one would beat the other is kind of silly, because really we don't know what versions of these damn teams are going to show up, because they've shown us a rainbow of options when it comes to good, bad, ugly, never great. So TL 2-2 beat Golden Guardians and Immortals, two teams that are towards the bottom of the power rankings. On the Discord, you can see the complete list, 1 through, I don't know, I think it's 90 or something. And they're towards the bottom. TL taking care of business against two bad teams. It was rough against Golden Guardians. It was not a clean win, but maybe this is the confidence boost the team needs. Obviously, very good player. Summit showed up against Golden Guardians in a big way. The bot lane of Eon and Core seem to be getting better. Harry is slowly getting better. So TL, 23rd right now. We'll see if they stay there. 22nd, dropping 3 spots, is BDS. They were 19th last week. They went 2-1 this past week, beating Heretics yesterday in a game that was really, really ugly. Very, very bad game. And then losing to G2 and Vitality. Now, G2 and Vitality, I talk about it, and if you're new, if you lose to teams above you in the power rankings, how much can I really punish you, right? I already knew those teams were better than you. So am I going to drop you out of the top 25? No. The win against Heretics, though, like I said, was ugly. So they do drop, but they stay in the top 25. Crowny and Lebrav have done very well. Nuke had a good game yesterday. Sheo, I think, Yike and Bo, has actually shown a lot of promise as a rookie in the jungle, which I think a lot of people were surprised about. And Adam, when you take him off of Olaf and Darius, I mean, the set yesterday was definitely sus. I did not love it. So they're 22nd for now. 21st is EG. They are 3-1 and new to the power rankings. Obviously inspired one of the best junglers in the world, in my opinion. I would say best Western jungler. Beat TSM and Dignitas. So for sure, those two teams are not at the level of EG, but the manner in which they win was big. Well, I mean, the manner in which they won was big. Really, really coming close to a perfect game against Dignitas. Completely smoked TSM. EG, I mean, in their loss, it was kind of, it was actually predictable against CLG. I think I predicted that loss when I think about it last week. But regardless, I mean, EG, like 100 Thieves, are going to be like in this range. 100 Thieves last year and probably this year. In this range all season long, because they're going to be getting wins, but at the same time, it's going to be like, and maybe it's just because someday in FBI give me that vibe, and like Vulcan isn't much better than Huhi, so it's like, what are we gonna do here? What's the ceiling for this team? With the jungle meta being so dog, it really doesn't allow Inspire to truly dominate games. Now, if it was carry, maybe they could, sneak into the 15th to 20th range, but right now they're kind of 21st, and unless other teams around them start losing, I don't expect them really getting much higher, because I do not think that they're better than the couple other teams above them in the LCS. 20th is Bro. Bro are moving up 2 spots after going 1-1. So a lot of problems with this team. Obviously, some drama. They're 3-3. Beat DRX. DRX, that's a win that they needed to beat. Because Bro, in that 5th to 7th range in the LCK, I do not expect them to be anywhere near as competitive as the teams I'm going to put up here. But they did take care of business against DRX. Now, their loss to KT 2-0. They are challenging it because of the whole side selection stuff. The way I view it, I think that they should just allow Bro to go into the next, because it's double round robin. When they play KT in the second half of the split, they don't have to tell KT what side they're picking. And then just go in blind, and whatever happens, happens from KT's perspective, just to wash it out. I said it when I talked about it the day of. I think that Bro definitely, I can't say definitely. Apparently, they might not have. I would like to think you would prepare a draft for game 2 if you lose game 1 from the opposite side, only because, you want to, because you don't have a lot of time in between games, right? Like, you only have 15 minutes. Like, if you spend hours throughout the week doing draft meetings, you're not going to be able to really, like, formulate your complete draft. Like, yeah, you could alter it. Like, oh, they picked this in game 1, let's change this or that. But, like, the foundation of the draft is going to be the same. So, I don't know how much I really vibe with the whole, like, were they at a slight disadvantage? Yes. But do I think that it completely was a reason why they lost in 23 minutes in game 2? No. No, they got blown out. It wasn't like it was close. 19th is SK. They are 6-3. Taking care of business against Fnatic and Excel, which are 2 teams not on here. However, I'm dropping them 4 spots. They lost to Astralis. There are just teams that leapfrogged them, right? That I think are just better. And that's kind of the deal here, unfortunately for them. Because, like, they were 15th, but I just think there are other teams that I like more. That kind of showed me other things this past week. Exakick and DOS have played absolutely fantastic. I did like yesterday what Marcoon did, ensuring that they got ahead of Reckless and Rux in a way that a lot of other Caitlyn Lux teams have not done. So I keep looking at the board here, by the way, because I'm just looking at the games from last week. So that's kind of the deal there. Their loss to Astralis, though, was not great. So they're 19th. 18th, the biggest drop of the week is RNG, dropping 10 spots. So I'm not dropping them out. I'm holding out hope that Angel plays. Because if Angel does not play, I don't know what to think about this team. Now, I don't want to put too much stock in the EDG series. So, RNG last week, looking at the board here, They lost to LNG and EDG, two teams that were in my top 25. So are those super bad losses? No. The fact that Ming came back and is on the team now, he's only played one series. He hasn't scrimmed with the new mid much at all, right? So Tangwan or Angel doesn't make a difference. So the vibe of the team has to change. New coach, spur of the moment. A lot, I think, to do with Ming. I think Ming wanted Tabe out. Problem is, this new coach I don't think is that good looking at their record over their career on Leaguepedia. So we'll have to see what RNG do. Right now they're in the top 25 because I just think they're too good on paper to take out. But at the same time, if this week goes poorly, I'm probably gonna have to drop them out. Which is it's a thing. I mean, it is what it is, but it sucks. 17th is C9. They're dropping. They dropped 4 spots. They lost to FlyQuest in a big way. They got blown out by FlyQuest the day that all the teams had returned to their facilities to play the game due to hardware issues. Beat CLG, clean win. C9, Fudge has looked absolutely cracked so far this split. Diplex has had his moments, and he's getting better. Eminez is behind him, and Eminez is really nasty. I mean, C9 have like an... If Eminez could vibe with this team, like C9 like Eminez looks really, really good. So there's that. The bot lane obviously is very good. Berserker and Sven, they're taking advantage of a meta that best benefits all these role swapped AD carries. So C9 17th, that makes sense. 16th is EDG, dropping 2 spots. They beat RNG, but like I said, that win loses a little bit of value when you take all the things into it. Like RNG are still a top 25 team, but is it a top 10 team? No. If they're going to play Tangwan, it's not. EDG, Fofo looked very good. He has actually looked a lot better than last year, looking a little bit more like he did in the past when that earned him a spot in the LPL to begin with. Leave and Mako have done solid. Mako, had some moments, but Leave has really carried that at points. So Ale didn't die last series. We saw a Scion, which is good, putting him on weak side. Willingness to do that is important. But they did lose to IG. So losing to IG drops them down to here. 1-1. IG, obviously a team that was also in this range in the power rankings. So we do have to, make note of that, oh, well, they lost to a team that's similar level. And who knows? In the LPL, everything's a best of one. LEC is a best of one as well, in that a game could be decided as simple as just how a player is feeling that day, which a lot of people aren't going to want to, listen to. But, like, if a player just plays off in a series, that just determines, like, all of a sudden this hierarchy stuff that, you kind of got to, like, think about more than just, like, how the players played on that day. 15th, G2 moving up 1 spot. So, G2 beat the teams they need to beat. BDS over here, that's a solid win. Beat Koi, which is a team that you do have to play your best against to beat. But they did lose to Mad Lions, and in a pretty ugly fashion. So, they move up 1 spot because they're beating, teams that they should. And, frankly, SK losing to Astralis drops them below G2 in my hierarchy, despite how they had played against each other. Like I said, it's a matter of how players play that day. So, G2 15th, I still like their drafts. Yesterday's draft was very, very interesting, which is another reason why I kind of don't drop them too much, because they are getting experimental again. Karma Kindred once more. Swain mid. I'm not a big Swain guy, but Swain mid was the pick. So, G2, spreading their wings a bit and doing some interesting stuff. 14th are Mad Lions. Moving up 9 spots. They're the biggest mover this week. So, they took care of business. They beat G2. They beat Fnatic. They beat Heretics. 7-2. Like I said, this team, and I say it every video, and if you're around here all the time, you're going to get tired of this and going to want to, and you can probably predict what I'm going to say. You've got to play your best against Mad Lions to beat them. If you do not play your best against them, they are going to beat you, and that's as simple as that. Mad Lions are a solid team. Elyoya is very talented. Niski had a pentakill this past week. You can't sleep on this team. Now, if you show up and respect them, you have a good chance of beating them. And so far, so good with the bot lane. It has not into its face-off, which is a real shocker. 13th are Sandbox, which is going to be weird seeing them +7, right, after going 1-1. But I'm really liking the progress by Willer. Closer is an issue, which is kind of how I didn't really know where I wanted to put them too much. Maybe I could have put them 16th and moved these 3 teams up. Regardless, where we are. So Sandbox 4-2, beat Nongshim, lost to gen.g. gen.g is obviously really stepping it up lately, and that's gonna be reflected in this column here. But nevertheless, I mean, I think that they're looking good. I think Kale is super good. He is maybe one of the most underrated players in the LCK because what he's doing alongside Envy is very impressive. And this team is just getting better and better. And Ryu, a first-time head coach, is looking very good as well. So Sandbox, 13th right now, moving up 7 spots. Maybe that's a little too high, but because Closer is a little sus and Birdall has his moments, but we are where we are. I'm not going to go back and change it. IG 12th. They don't move at all. They beat EDG, LGD, lost to TT. So, 4-1, first in the LPL. Win against EDG is a big deal. Beat LGD today, that was a big deal. Losing to Thunder Talk is not super bad. Thunder Talk are a little bit better now that they have Yao Yao. I say that all the time. If you haven't been watching my videos, I'm really happy about that. But the thing is with this, so after they lost to Thunder Talk, YSKM had a situation where he decided, I'm going to play solo queue until my Jace is right. Like, he's going to get his Jace right and improve it. Now, he played solo queue and drank so much coffee and so much whatever that he had ingested so much caffeine that he himself ended up going to the hospital because he had what he felt was some chest pain, heart problems. And he's only 18, 19 years old. So that's a serious problem, right? We've said this a few times. I've said this a few times, but this video is my most successful one. So a lot of people watch this video, don't watch my other content. Like, that's a problem. And some people say, yeah, well, you know, this, that. And it's like, no, 18, 19-year-olds do not have that problem. Like, and let's put it this way, okay? So even if he did, he got so stressed out about losing, and this is, so players do this, athletes do this, right? We see this. But he got so stressed out that he got to that point, and not everybody's body's created equally in that way. So, you know, everybody handles a different amount of stress. So, keeping that in mind, the doctors say, okay, well, less coffee, less solo queue, less scrims. And they beat LGD today, so it's like, okay, well, honestly, I think YSKM could have beat LGD from a hospital bed if he wanted to. Obviously, he looks pretty good. After the game, he did say he was experiencing a little bit of chest pain or chest soreness, and I think that's pretty concerning given that he's against LGD on stage, and like, it's not even like a matter of like the game itself, but just like, I guess even that little bit of pressure in that situation, or like the elevated heart rate, he should not have been on stage today. In my opinion, he shouldn't have been playing. They have a substitute top laner. They could have played Nenny. I know YSKM is like the face of the team right now, but like, I don't know. That's pretty concerning. Splitting scrims is going to be a concern. That's kind of my hesitance. Originally, I had these two swapped. But I said I can't put EDG above IG after IG just beat them. But I would not be shocked seeing IG struggle if YSKM cannot scrim all the time, if he cannot play as much solo queue, if he has to change his mindset that makes him the player he is. So long-winded thing, but not everybody watches all my content, so that might have been the first time they heard my opinion on it. 11th place, top LEC team is Vitality. Lost to Koi, and their 2 wins are extremely ugly. Extremely ugly. Ugliest wins I think I've seen in a very, very long time. Bo dying like 19 or 20 times between the 2 games. Absolutely disgusting. and I'm just going to write it off as a bad weekend, and we'll see how they do going forward. I don't have anything nice to say about Vitality right now. Actually, that's a lie. Photon deserves... Right now, we're like voting on MVP after every game, and actually right now, Photon leads. If you're not participating in that in the Discord, so be it. But he is like 1v9ing for Vitality. Both of those wins were Photons, nobody else's. Especially the BDS one. XL, maybe you could argue, maybe like Neon did a little bit of it, but for the most part, Photon earned both those wins outright. It was just absolutely disgusting to watch. 10th place, we have KT, who are 3-3. Dropping one spot. Yeah, I'm having a tough time with KT, right? I could argue that they could be anywhere from here to here because they have... Oh, I just knocked this, making sure it's still recording. They are playing like HLE, so it's hard to... Like, this is the gap here. Cuz just hits more smites, I guess. I think I like KT's team better. I think Keen is better than Kingen. Obviously, Zeka's better than BDD. I like Cuz more than Clid. And honestly, Aiming and Lahen's combined, it's probably better than Viper Life. Viper better than Aiming, but Lahen's better than Life. Regardless, though, KT are 3-3, beat Bro, lost to KDF. So they beat a team over here, 2-0, pretty soundly. We just went over that with the Bro situation. Losing to KDF is ugly, but I can't see. This is the thing I'm running into now, which is going to be hard to argue why HLE is way down here, but we're going to ignore that for a second. I can't really fathom these Western teams beating KT on paper. I just can't reconcile it. So that's kind of the deal with why KT aren't falling. 9th place is LNG, a big mover, moving up 8 spots. They're 3-0. Scout and Tarzan took care of business this past week against RNG and Rare Atom. Absolutely spanked Rare Atom. Scout, 20 kills, like 2 deaths, 15 assists. Tarzan doing solid. The bot lane, the young bot laner and LP performing very well in that one. Definitely the player we're watching to be like, can LNG do it? They have a test. They have to play OMG tomorrow. So that's going to be a real test for them. But right now, 9th place, LNG looking good, leading the LPL. So that's a thing. I really, I think they're pretty good. Now, historically, this column was winners only, who I think, have a chance at Worlds. That number has went from 8 with RNG out to 7. So this team, I'm putting 8th place. I do not have in Worlds winners contention. Clarify. FlyQuest are 8th. No offense, but I don't see a world where the LCS, or frankly the West, is going to win Worlds this year. Right now, obviously, we're talking 8 months before it happens, so really I can wipe my ass with that comment, which is kind of what I do with any comment that I see related to Worlds at this point. But Fly, 8th, 4-0, beat Golden Guardians, beat C9. They have a player that was in contention for LCK MVP in summer. They have the LCK Rookie of the Year. They're playing a Mumu jungle. They don't even have their support. They have a world champion top laner that, yes, is not at that level anymore, but can he play tanks and probably play it better than the majority? Yes, so FlyQuest are 8th. They beat C9. There's no other competition for them until they play C9 again. They're probably going to lose a game between now and then because that's what happens. Everybody loses. So that's kind of the deal there. 7th is Top. Oh, by the way, FlyQuest has moved up 2 spots. Top dropped 1 spot. They took care of business against 2 teams they needed to beat. Rare Atom and Ninja in Pajamas. Both those teams stink. Top crushed them. Nip don't know who to play. They got different top laners, different soul laners in general. Rookie stepping it up, taking advantage of that. King Tien on the K'Sante may have the best K'Sante in the world right now. I don't even think that's maybe. I think he does. He plays that very well. Tien's doing his job. Like, honestly, I don't know how to say it. Top are playing the way that we think they would be. I don't consider them I don't even think they're at their best. I think the bot lane needs some work still. Against Rare Atom, they struggled, in my opinion. So 7th right now, but they are definitely a team that I expect to be contenders for a while. 6th place are Weibo, dropping 1 spot. Weibo beat FPX pretty soundly yesterday, 2-0. Game 2 was a little sloppy, but Game 1 was a stomp. But lost to BLG. And the way I reconcile that, and I think people made too much of it, is that was Weibo's 2nd series of the split. They played top right before New Year's, and then they have to play BLG after New Year's. 2 top 10 teams in the world, in my opinion. 2 top 8 teams, technically. And, like, you have new players. Like, Karsa and Zhao, who are playing with the Shy. The Shy is playing with them. You have bot laners with Light and Crisp, who were not together last year. Like, there are a lot of things that have to be worked out with this team. And to think that, oh, they lost to BLG like this. No, I'm not making more of it than it is. That's the whole thing I said earlier. Depends on the day. Weibo are working out how they want to draft. The Shy probably wants to do some crazy stuff. And Zhao and Karsa are like, hey, how about we like do a regular draft and just like play like we normally would more often, so we can get used to each other, build a foundation of how we want to play, and then start like getting experimental. I mean, I think there's an argument to be made there. But because of this, BLG are above them because, I mean, BLG did beat them, but I'm not going to punish Weibo too much. BLG up to 5th place. They beat Weibo. They play Team World Elite tomorrow, who are 2-2. So I think they should be able to take care of business in that one. So BLG 5th, best top laner in the world, in my opinion, in Bin. June was allowed to carry against Weibo on Kindred and looked absolutely fantastic. He also played Nidalee. Yagao playing Galio is a big deal. Seeing him play Galio, I hate Talia as a champion right now. But Facilitator, I could see it. Somebody has to play Facilitator on BLG, and Yagao doing it is probably for the best. So 5th place is BLG. 4th place is D+. They dropped 2 spots. They lost to gen.g. So losing to gen.g dropped them. gen.g was up here as well, so everybody's still in contention for what I would consider to be the best team in the world. And smoked the Freaks. 2-1, I think. So that was pretty set in stone there. Deft and Kellen still doing work. You know, the top lane leaves a little bit to be desired, but at the same time, I mean, what are you going to do? I think Thanatos behind Kana should have just been put in the lineup, but they chose to go with Kana, which I think is just really weird. Because honestly, you could have saved money there and, like, maybe, like, I don't know. Deft is playing so well, it's hard to argue, but could they have afforded, like, somebody better? Ruler, Viper. And I know the Viper stuff, I don't think Viper want to play with Kellen, but money talks sometimes. So, you know, the thing is, I wonder if they could have just done that and been better off. I mean, they are obviously a world's contending team, but at the same time, I do wonder about that. gen.g are 3rd, moving up 1 spot. They took care of business against D+, like I said, and also beat Sandbox, a team that's in the top 25, 2 solid wins. Now, do I put them above the team that's next? No, because they lost to the team that's next. And the way the team is playing that's above them, you know, it kind of is what it is. They're just having for fun, where gen.g are probably playing at their best. And honestly, I wouldn't even say they're playing at their best. They're playing at their best right now. Pays is going to get better. He's going to get better. He looks very good so far. He looks very confident. At the end of last season and last year, I identified Pays as a player that should be recalled. Not recalled, sorry, not over Ruler. Jesus Christmas. But a player that should be on other teams' radar as a player. Hey, there's an upgrade from gen.g. Let's go get him, right? LCS team, hey, let's go get him. LEC team, let's, like, LPL, doesn't matter. Like, there are better... I mean, he is better than a lot of 80 carries that are playing right now. Like, so Pays I identified as that. Unfortunately for him, he had to wait. Contract prison. Now he's playing and doing well. gen.g, you know, obviously playing more towards jungle mid top side, which makes more sense. But at the same time, I think that you know, it doesn't look like they've skipped that much of a beat. Second place, T1. T1 are just inting and having fun right now. I don't know what else to say about that. I'm going to put these markers back as I'm saying that. I don't know, like, we see Carey as ridiculous picks, right? And it's like, okay, well, he's very good. I said last week he's the best player in the world. And I do believe that. But they're going to lose games because of it. And that's going to happen. And then we're not going to get a good read on what this team actually is at this point. So they're second. Beat Nongshim. Blew a game in that series, by the way. Twitch support was not very good for them. And lost to HLE, a team that on paper should be competitive with T1, but hadn't been. So I'm looking at that loss and I'm saying, is that a terrible loss? Based on how HLE are playing, yes. But based on how HLE could play, no. So T1, second place. Obviously, I still think they're very good. In first place, the team that's 3-0, still undefeated. Excuse me, are JDG. Moving up 2 spots. They beat Nip, and the way they beat Anyone's Legend yesterday was an absolute, like, oh my God. I said yesterday stomp was the way to describe it. No. No. Absolutely not. So, game 1 against Anyone's Legend, if you didn't watch the roundup, was under 20 minutes. Okay. We see that once in a while, like, a team just absolutely smokes another one off the rift. Okay. Game 2, Anyone's Legend got 1 turret. So that was the difference between a perfect game and not a perfect game. So game 1's under 20 minutes. Game 2 is a 1 turret away from a perfect game. JDG just absolutely killed him. Against Nip, smoked him. JDG are really, really good right now. Makes a lot of sense. This team is an all-star team. It is the super team. How does it do against a good team? Remains to be seen. They played BLG. It took 3 games. BLG are up here. I respect BLG. I think, like I said, I think BLG are very good. But we also have to keep in mind, they have not played other good teams yet. We'll see how they do. I think they have actually real opponents coming up. So I think maybe RNG is the first one, which unfortunately for RNG. So JDG have some tests ahead. They're going to be tested, which we'll see what happens with that. So thank you for watching this video. If you liked it, like it. Subscribe to the channel for daily League of Legends content. Follow me on Twitter. Join the Discord. Like I said, on the Discord, my complete power rankings will be on there. Disclaimer, after 25th, it is 100% algorithm-based because most of them are minor region teams. So we're trying to figure out where these major region teams stack up against minor region teams when we haven't watched them all play. So that's all stats to determine that ranking. But that's on the Discord. Become a YouTube member. And thanks for watching.